greatest Raider of all time, George Blanda.
Everybody loved George Blanda. The Raiders really are a franchise of resurrection. They really are a franchise that took a lot of guys that were cast-offs, kicked around, discarded, and brought them there and gave them a home and gave them a fresh start. Well, nobody was resurrected more than George Blanda.
By the time George got to the Raiders, he was about 95 years old.
George was old. You know, you look at the list of when people were born in the program. There were guys born in the 30s. There weren't many guys born in the 20s, and George was born in the 20s.
Before being signed by the Raiders, Blanda played 16 years in the NFL and AFL, primarily for the Bears and Oilers.
LaMonica's knee was injured late in the game, and he could not play the following week. His replacement was a 41-year-old veteran quarterback who played sparingly and is used as a kicking specialist.
George Blanda was one of the fiercest competitors.
Ageless George Blanda celebrated his 45th birthday by arching a bomb to tight end Raymond Chester.
The Raiders took this cast-off, if you will, and showed that he not only had more left in the arm, but he had a heck of a lot left in the foot.
George Blanda then became the only player in pro history to score 2,000 points.
People ask me, who's the greatest football player you ever played with? It was George Blanda.
When the game was on the line, George Blanda wanted the football or wanted to be kicking the football because he could win. He was, I think, the greatest clutch player that the game has ever known.
Blanda's inclusion on our list is due in most part to his miraculous run of clutch performances during the 1970 season.
He had a streak of 5 games at which he pulled the Raiders from the jaws of defeat. He was an inspirational leader. He was a talented quarterback and a great kicker.
There it is. Snap. Spot it. Let's kick. That's got a chance. That is good. It's good. I don't believe it. George Blanda has just been elected king of the world.
1970, I'm at Bowling Green watching the Raiders, and this George Blanda every week would come in and win these games for him in the last second. It was nuts.
If a television scriptwriter or a hack pulp fiction writer tried to write the kind of finishes the Raiders have produced this year, they would send him to the loony bin before he ever got past the first proofreader.
That run that he had week after week, either winning games with touchdown passes or winning games with 50-yard field goals, was one of the great runs in the history of pro football.
So should the third leading scorer in NFL history and Hall of Fame inductee be ranked higher on our list?
George Blanda should be number 1 on the list. He is a quintessential Raider. Nobody else that ever wore that uniform was as sensationally miraculous as George Blanda.
You can't think of the Raiders without thinking of George Blanda.
There's no doubting his importance to the Raider franchise and its history, but he wasn't Cliff Branch and he wasn't Marcus Allen, I'll tell you that.